We got a little bit of Final Fantasy XIV news to talk about, but considering the fact that I went ahead and tried to quickly set up this scene and ended up accidentally doing this, I'm just going to do this now. All right, fine, let's get to it. What's up, everyone? I'm Falcon, and well, it's the end of the year, and I don't know why I didn't expect this. I should know better by now, but Yoshi P has given us a little bit of an interview and a little bit of Q&A over on the JP servers. I remember him doing this from time to time. I just don't know why I got blindsided by this. It seems super fucking obvious in hindsight. But in any case, let's quickly go over what was asked, what the answers are, and let's see if there's anything we can glean from all of this. So first things first, the first question was asked, any plans to implement system related to motion? The answer regarding motion, we are currently planning to offer all players some form of customization on motion related. Now, obviously, this is a very, first off, in case I don't say it enough, massive shout out to the hardworking crew over at the XIV translation and live letters Reddit and the Discord. They are top notch. They are fantastic. With that also being said, I also fully acknowledge translating Japanese to English and vice versa is extremely difficult because of the way the Japanese language is. This sentence clearly is very much a product of trying to translate from Japanese to English. Regarding motions, we are currently planning to offer all players some form of customization on motion related. Now, it doesn't say a whole lot in details. Maybe there's a direct translation regarding this. There's been some talks about animations. I don't know whether it means emotes or battle animations, or for being super literal and just talking about run and walk animations. Now, if it is, personally, I'd be perfectly fine with just run and walk animations. I'd love to see more. I mean, when I tap into the dark magic, I actually do customize a lot of animations on my side only. And well, I know there's gonna be a lot of people that want an official way to go ahead and make moves flashier, or to go ahead and mod Ninja to be less ninja-y and more rogue. Like, you know, there's tons of that. And a lot of people are just saying, well, they do it so well on the mod scene, why don't you just do it in the game? You can't. You notice how they're talking about the question was to implement a system related to motion. We can't just copy what the modders do, because what the modders do is that they forcefully inject and trick the game to accepting files it shouldn't take as files it should take. On the modding scene, we're basically doing duct tape engineering, where on a finished product officially supported by Final Fantasy XIV, you expect the whole thing to be plug and play and not ripping duct tape parts off to put new duct taped parts on. There's a level of jank you're willing to tolerate with mods that you're not going to tolerate with a system like this, with a official system. So they got to first develop the system that'll let them swap out animations, and then they can start working on other things. So I think run and walk animation replacements is going to be first. Please let me replace the Dark Knight run and walk animations. Actually, let me upgrade Warriors too. Base Warriors is, I love Warriors run animation, but their walk animation leaves so much to be desired. You look like a nerd. You get my stick. Dragoon 2 is another one that their walk animation leaves a lot to be desired, where their run animation is pretty good. But I digress. Next up, what are you thinking for this New Year's challenge? Yoshi P says, I couldn't really think of something particular for this New Year's challenge, but we are currently exploring game design directions here. So we really enjoy working on those game design tasks. I mean, I can already tell you what his New Year challenge is. it's going to be job design. There is so much hype around what huge job design changes are coming forward in 8.0. And this year, 2026, is going to be the year that they have to, if they haven't already finished planning, finish the planning stage, start working on implementation, and start cooking. Because 8.0 is going to most likely be 2027. So they've got, it's going to be what now? If they implement 2 more jobs, 23 more jobs that they have to have ready to go. But they're also, but like they said, looking at the game design directions as well. While you're working on the job design, like with our little RPG maker thing we've been doing on Saturdays, you've also got to look at what is the combat going to look like? What is the game going to look like from there? So it's easy to just say, just fix the jobs, idiot. You can't just do that. You have to focus on everything else at the same time. Because you go ahead and make jobs, way harder to play, all of a sudden, only the most elite of the elite of the elite are going to be able to do the hardest content. And if those people beat all the high-end content, now there's no more high-end content. There's no more people to even attempt that content with. And that's a problem. So yeah, we'll have to see how that ends up going. Any plans to implement huge water tanks? USB responds with, for huge water tanks, aquariums, water tanks, fish tanks, glass tanks, who knows? It's likely possible to create that. I'm relaying your request to the housing team. So we might see a new step above what we have in aquariums. As someone who I actively avoid fishing. I really do. And even for the housing designs I've done, which so far I've done 2, and I still need to do my mains small house. I should check to make sure it's not being threatened to be demolished again. I hardly touch aquariums, but I would like to see some bigger ones, maybe even try to full on create like an actual zoo quality aquarium inside like a small house. I think that might be actually really cool, but we'll have to see. Next question, obvious. What is the next concept for the next ultimate? Yoshimi said the next ultimate concept is, well, yeah, meta, I guess. You'll understand that once you get to play it. I'll be perfectly honest, I think it's stupid to speculate on this. I feel like we're going to break our brains trying to figure out what that means. Now, one bit of a meta commentary that I can only glean from this is the fact that apparently this is normally done on Chocobo. I saw someone mention on Twitter that this was held on the Pandemonium server instead of Chocobo. There could be an infinite number of reasons for that, but it's the only lead we got. So I guess Pandemonium Ultimate confirmed. TM. It's not confirmed. Don't listen to me. That's stupid, crazy people talk. But I'm gonna tell people that and then laugh. I mean, it could be. It very well could be that that's exactly the hint he's giving. The fact that the concept is meta, meaning that the answer is meta, that they're on the Pandemonium server instead of literally any other server. It could be. With that also being said, if the next one is Pandemonium, that means that the last MSQ based ultimate we had was Heaven's Ward. We don't have Stormblood, which we could have done some. You're not gonna top DSR with Stormblood. It doesn't matter if you tried to go ahead and do a what if scenario that if you didn't have Doma's help to take down Xenos, or a what if scenario that Yatsuyu helped, or there's multiple different ways you could have gone. You could make it for a what if. There's no way you could have done there's no way a Stormblood MSQ ultimate would have topped DSR. It's just not happening. I think the sooner they come to that conclusion, the better off they're going to be. And I think you kind of have to just start things off. God, how would you start a Stormblood Ultimate off? I don't even know. Like, I mean, do you start it off with the big shield dude? I forgot his name, his big dumb face, who eventually becomes the Doom guy at Doma Castle. Then the Doma Castle, then invade and go up against Xenos, and then Shinryu, and then Tsukuyomi, and then Shinryu eats Tsukuyomi. I guess that's like the only thing I could think of for a Stormblood one, given, 30 seconds to think about it. But like the Shadowbringers one, oh my god. There's so many different ways you could go. A trial through all the various Light Wardens, a what if scenario that what if you actually had to go and take on the Warrior of Light themselves if they did fully turn into a Light Warden and then take on Hades, or take on Hades then the final one being the Light Warden. And before you go, like, well, how are you supposed to fight yourself? You pick someone at random, you use their face and put them on just like a Giga Angel, but keep the mechanics exactly the same and just make it that much more interesting. Like, you could then, I'm sure there's plenty of other people who put more thought and daydreaming into this than me, who could come up with a better scenario as well. Like, there's plenty you could do with a Shadowbringers MSQ1, but if we do just go straight to Pandemonium, well, then we have a problem, because we're going to go into 8.0 with only one raid remaining, and that's going to be Arcadian. Does that mean we go into 8.0 with only one ultimate? And from then on, there's only going to be one ultimate per expansion, and it's just going to be whatever the previous raid was? I hate to say it, but that's a massive yikes. And I don't even do that high end of content yet. That'd be a massive disappointment, especially since more and more people are hoping for more ultimates, even if they aren't to the same storyboard planning as DSR, which is still peak. So who knows? A lot to look into there with not a lot of information. I already think I even looked way too much into this one here. The next question: please make fat chocobo goods. Answer: well, we think of goods related to fat chocobo, but are there any specifics on I want something like this? A response: I want a fat chocobo hoodie. Yoshi P, thanks for the idea on fat chocobo goods. No notes. Moving on. Next question: please implement cockatiel minions. Yoshi P, okay, noted. I'll let them know. I bet they'll cry in joy. The one who is responsible for parakeets, that is. That's interesting. Next question: do you have a favorite Arcadian BGM? Yoshi P answers with, well, I do indeed think Everything Birds is peak, but I quite like the second floor, the Brothers theme this time around. That would be M10. Oh, and the previous third floor. I forgot the name though. So that would be, I don't know, I don't have the titles memorized yet for Arcadian, but I'm pretty sure M10 is Mirror, and M7, oh, it's right there. It's Not Afraid. Rip. I'm kind of surprised. I would have thought M6 would have gotten a mention, but that, I think also a lot of people fell out of love of Back to the Drawing Board, just because people were, a lot of PFers were in Back to the Drawing Board for way too long. All right, next up. When is the sale for FanFest tickets? Are you planning to increase? Are you planning on increasing ways to spend gil? I want to note that these Q&As occurred on the JP data centers, so this is going to be in regards to the sale for JP FanFest tickets. All right, the answer: the Makuhari tickets will be available soon enough. Also, I want to say, if I mispronounced Makuhari, I apologize. I don't know how it's pronounced. I don't speak Spanish. The Makuhari tickets will be available soon enough. Please wait just a little. As for ways to spend gil, we'd like you to please wait for a bit. If we go too far in this. It'll create a gap between new players, and that's just one risk here. We're thinking and considering a wide range of options here. So you do have a problem with Gil in this game, and it's in the fact that there is a huge inflation problem, and most of it comes in the form of the FC submarines. Okay, to understand what I'm saying here, one FC with 4 subs doing an old path can generate roughly 2 million gil a week. It's actually a little less than that, but on average, it's about 2 mil. Sometimes you have highs, sometimes you have lows. In my case, it's a lot of lows. That's one FC. If you go ahead and really start rigging things, oh, you get a problem. And keep in mind, this is freshly created gil. This isn't someone else's gil that you're now spending. This is gil created from nothing. This contributes to a massive inflation problem that FF14 has. Because if you're able to create 2 mil every week, that means that anyone doing this is just printing new money and doing basically nothing for it. Because the only cost in doing that is Magitech repair kits, which cost roughly 2K per to make, and you need to do every 2 weeks. So, you know, you're tapping crafters for about 50K every other week to generate, in that amount of time, roughly 4 million. That's nothing. That's just the cost of doing business right there. So, you know, all of a sudden you have these 50 million gil mount sinks trying to go ahead and destroy all this freshly created gil, and you can start doing the math and realizing this cannot continue. This is a problem. And I say this as someone who runs an FC that takes advantage of this. I benefit from this, kind of. And I acknowledge this is a problem. You have an inflation problem in this game. So on one hand, you'd think, oh, just make more rare stuff that's only from maps. That makes people spend millions upon millions of gil. Yeah, that keeps the economy very healthy. Don't get me wrong there. But that's just gil changing hands. It doesn't change the fact that people who manage to get lucky enough to get a house and then build up these subs and know this plot can go ahead and generate 8 to 10 million gil a month. It's going to have to be an issue that's targeted, or that's not really targeted, but handled at some point. There's no other way around it. I'm sorry, but there really isn't. All right. Next question regarding Beastmaster. The answer, the implementation on Beastmaster is moving quite well and smoothly here. We'll share details about it in the upcoming producer live letter. Please wait just a little more. I mean, this is pretty much what I expected. I fully believe that the level 1 nothing was in fact part of Beastmaster testing and it got out too early. Same thing with the level 3 moves that apparently also existed but was a lot less cultized. So I mean, they're cooking. I fully believe they are cooking, and I do believe we're going to hear more about it. I don't think we're going to see Beastmaster until summer. I think it's going to be 7.55 that we finally see Beastmaster, which also raises the question, why on earth did you mention it years ago at FanFest? Get everyone excited for this thing and then just be like, yeah. You could have just said, like, we have plans for a future limited job. Stay tuned for more info, and just left it at that. It's okay. You can leave stuff hiding. Okay. Next up. Will Viera be able to use Cloud Strife Hero Final Fantasy VII and Glorious HD Resolutions hairstyle? Will it be added? What is the next cartoon character costume? Here they say animal suit. I assume they mean mascot. All right, the answer here is we are planning to add Cloud's hairstyle for Viera, so please wait for it. I imagine it's going to be 7.5. And we're planning on implementing Namazu bodysuit here. Don't we already have a Namazu mascot? Am I mistaken? I thought we already had that. The next question. I can't buy G600T, so any recommendations on a nice mouse? Is G13 alive? I have no idea what I'm guessing this Logitech mouse, but far more importantly, please remove job restriction on mannequins. Yoshi, I understand the feelings about the G600 here. I'll see if I can do something about it. Remove job restrictions on mannequins. Okay. Just straight up. Done. Not a please look forward to it. Done. Okay. We'll get on it. I actually need to utilize mannequins more. I actually would love to go ahead and decorate some of that stuff. Especially since I'm supposed to be decorating a outfitter shop. Whoops. Next up, are you going to host an equipment design contest? Answer, we would like to host one, just wait a little longer. Next up, please let us dye the Ultima Horn. Answer, Ultima Horn, yes. Noted, got you. Noted on the goods as well. Plushies shown in the Produce with Live letter are all prototypes and are going to be sold. Wait, what? Wait, what? I feel like something was lost in all this. But in any case, Ultima Horn's being dyed. Sure, why not? Let us dye more things. I'm all in favor of dyeing more things. Next up, Yoshida-san, please. I'd like the cap on buffs to be eliminated, and please add more glamour slots. Translator's note, glamour plate slots, I think. I also think that's what they're referring to. It's either that or more stuff in the glamour dresser. All right. The answer. You mean specifically the ones on the field, right? For the buff cap? We are enacting various countermeasures on that, actually, and we'll let you know once we reach our goal. We plan to deal with glamour slots after dealing with the housing and furnitures. So we have heard before that they plan on dealing with the glamour slots after housing. So we probably won't hear anything about a revamp on, and I assume this is involving glamour plates as well, because currently we have 20 glamour plates and 23 combat jobs. And that's not even including the, 11 crafter and gatherer jobs. And with more options to go ahead and glam things, it would be nice to have one plate per job, because that's what I use. And I imagine that's what a lot of other people want to go ahead and do, especially since we now have the ability to mix and match various job pieces and get very much fine-tune what we'd like to see. So, that would be nice. But yeah, they wanted to go ahead and deal with the housing and furniture. They've been working on the optimizations for that for several patches, and they swore up and down before that we are definitely getting to that next patch. Hopefully they cover it here, but we'll see. Can you please implement that flying unit that appears in the near raids as a mount? Answer, noted on various items and mount requests. I'm going to screenshot them and let the team know. Okay. Flying unit as a mount. That'd be nice. Damn shame we're getting it after the Cyberpunk expansion, but oh well. Question, do you have plans to add more character skin colors? Yoshi says, regarding that, we do have several plans for that, so please wait for a bit. I am curious what they mean by this, and like, those of us in the modding scene, we already know that, well, not even the modding scene, like anyone who like putzes around with the character creator for way too long, you do notice that some character swatches are kind of shared, but there's only like certain colors, even just based on race and even the sub race. Like Sunseeker Makote can be tanned, but Moonkeepers don't get tan, but they can be blue and kind of dusky gray. But Aura, I don't know if how much of a difference is between Rain and Zayla off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it's Zayla's can also be red or green or also blue. Like there's a wide different variety of different lizards you can get. So we'll see. Question, will we have a Switch version? Answer, please look forward to the Switch version. Just f***ing right there. You, there it is. There's gonna be a Switch 2. I imagine this is gonna be a Switch 2 version, not a Switch 1 version. The Switch 1 can be outdone performance-wise by a Samsung smart fridge. I don't think the Switch 1 is going to support Final Fantasy 14. I think that's going to be Switch 2 exclusive. And you know what? I'm very curious how well it's going to perform. I really, really am, because the Switch 2 isn't exactly like a massive powerhouse. It's still kind of underpowered, but it's still capable. It'll still get the job done. So we'll have to see. Next up, do you have plans for Regional Fate? Regional Fate, that too. We do have an event that's something like that in some form, in some manner. Editor's note here. Regional Fate is a small-scale FF14 IRL event that takes place in various prefectures in Japan. I was really hoping that was just that was going to be a statement regarding more in-world events. One of the things that kind of bites lately about new expansions, the 6 zones that make up the new world for the expansion feel really dead really quickly. Like the first 8 months of the expansion, when you had 7.0 and 7.1, yeah, you had fates, and you know, this could just be my special brand of ADD, but holy smokes, it is difficult to grind those solo. It really, really is. I'll tell you what, the phantom weapons giving you the alternate method of going to the current fates to grind out those gummies helped immensely. But I would still love to see more variety in fates. I would love to see a return of like rare high-end fates. No, when I say high-end, I don't mean like extreme or savage difficulty fates. I just mean like you need to take this on with like 8 people fates at least. Just something that's just like, oh yeah, let's go ahead and do this. Something to get people back out in the world, because I almost guarantee you the new world zones are barren. Most people hang out in the cities and just let the duty finder go ahead and do whatever. Actually, right now, they're probably mostly in Occult Crescent trying to get those relics, or not the relics, but the accessories that supposedly exist. You're gonna have a hard time convincing me they exist. That being said, though, that was a good move on their part, because it did breathe life back into a dead zone. Next up, can you make it so all minions can move automatically without titles? What? Make it so that all minions can move automatically without titles. I do not understand. Answer. I'm sorry, I'd like more details. Okay, even Yoshi P is confused. I'd like more information on this move automatically without titles. Do you mean anywhere, limited to only housing? In other words, I take that to mean you want to let minions roam freely, but of course to walk all areas is indeed impossible, so I'd like you to provide a visual for us. It also says here, I'd love it if we could change the houses orientation based on our housing's appearance. Got about housing, can't see the words formed by you players though. So I'm going to take a stab at what I think this guy means by all minions move automatically without titles. I'm going to assume they mean like roam freely, like within a house. Like you can go ahead and plant minions all over your island sanctuary. Yeah, you forgot about island sanctuary, don't lie. But like anywhere else, they have to be like near you. The other, and like I can see the appeal of that. There is one problem though. Where minions appear is client side and doesn't sync. So what I mean by that is that minions will just go around as they see fit. They'll have like an anchor point near the player, but where a minion appears on my screen will be different on yours. At least that's how it used to be. Maybe they changed that. I haven't checked in a long time, but I imagine that's how it still works. So assuming that that coding is still in and they don't want to go ahead and overload the server by doubling the amount of positions they need to sync up by also tracking everyone's minions in addition to themselves, that's going to be how it stays. So any sort of tweaking with minions would have to go ahead and handle that first. And considering the fact that RAM prices have increased by 7,000%, or however much it actually has increased by. Server upgrades are going to be very difficult for Final Fantasy XIV, especially if my understanding that they use unusual enterprise hardware. And by unusual, I don't mean like, oh, they use ECC memory, or oh, they use 2 Xeons instead of a regular 1 server socket system, hurdy-durdy-dur. I mean like they might use actually cell processor based servers instead of Intel or AMD x86 based servers. And I do believe it is cell processors, because FF14 came around during the PS3 era. And during the PS3 era, a lot of people were convinced cell processors, which is what the PS3 runs on, was the way of the future. And obviously that's not the case. But if the server core is based on that, well, now you're stuck in it. Now you do have to keep using cell processors. And just based on what Yoshimi has said before, I'm fairly convinced that that's kind of what they used. But in any case, moving on. Next question. Depending on the equipment, the hairstyle would just get buried. Is there any way to deal with how they would penetrate the clothes? Answer. If we try to control the equipment so that the hairstyle doesn't penetrate it, it would result in necessarily having to implement restrictions and limitations to equipment designs. So we'd be happy if we could tolerate that, but in return, we'll work hard on creating flexible hairstyles. So the big problem with this is so what they're referring to is clipping. And one of my characters actually has a huge problem with this when in her coat. Her hair clips through the collar of the coat like nobody's business. And it does make trying to take screenshots very, very difficult, because I want to minimize the amount of that clipping that's visible. In addition, if she looks up with her big battle axe on her back, part of her head is going to clip into the big battle axe. It's just how it's going to end up being. Now, I've got tools to go ahead and minimize that, but it is something that does exist, and you kind of want that to be kept to a minimum, especially during cutscenes where everything is done in engine. I just don't see them implementing a collision system and putting that much of a burden on systems, because the whole point of an MMO is that anyone can run it. And especially going into 2026, where I'm just going to tell you this right now. I was going to save this for the podcast prediction episode. I do fully expect that the capability of technology that you can buy is going to be taking a massive step backwards, all thanks to the RAM shortage. Brand new phones are going to be shipping with half the RAM. We're already seeing pre-built computer systems ship with no RAM. Bring your own RAM if you can. We're expecting GPU prices to double. So a lot of people that if their computer does break down, they're not going to get something brand new. They are going to go ahead and go to something that's older and cheaper, or, and this is kind of funny to see, people are building with far, far, far older parts to use RAM that is not in short supply, which will then make it in short supply. So you're going to see a lot more people kind of roughing it as far as technology goes. You really don't want to, if you're Final Fantasy XIV, do anything that puts more stress on the computer and thus brings the minimum specs required to go even further up. You really don't want to do that, even when there isn't a RAM shortage. All right, next question. Can you implement the option for players to change dummy size in specific fields? Yoshimi responds, is the dummy too small for you? The response, rather than the dummy size being too small, it's more like the target circle being small. Answer, size difference for dummies wise, if it's for housing use, then it shouldn't be an issue. But normal field, it would be difficult. If it's the target circle size, then it should be possible. Honestly, that'd be nice if we could get like larger target circles around dummies so people can practice positionals. What I would really, really like to see is I would like to see unmodded vanilla built into the game some kind of visual or audio feedback that you hit your positional correctly. Because right now, I feel, and granted, I am not a melee player, even though I main red mage. I'm not a melee player, but from what I've seen in melee, hitting your positionals is very unsatisfying. That being said, I don't think you should go to hitting positionals being mandatory or hitting positionals be the difference between doing damage or losing your combos or anything like that. I don't think we need to step backwards in that regards. I do think positionals should only be like a 20 to 40 to maybe even a 70 potency upgrade to actually hitting them. But I do think you need to provide like a more satisfying sounding hit or a flashier hit when you hit the positionals correctly. And then with that, yeah, go ahead, give us a larger target circle so people can practice getting their positionals and then getting that good feel, that good auditory or visual cue that, yeah, you hit your positional correctly. I think that'd be fantastic. And that should have been implemented yesterday. That's just me though. Next up, wow, there's a lot more questions. Next up, it would be great if you could implement a feature where you can store all dies in some sort of palette, like the quick panel that is implemented for this patch. By doing so, we'll smooth out item slots in inventory. Answer: color die wise, we are currently considering something, so we'd like you to wait for a moment. Oh, new inventory. I mean, first off, just any sort of extra inventory just for any specific kind of item would be fan-frickin-tastic. Like if we go ahead and have like dies stored as a currency, top notch, A+ number one. I don't know if it'll happen. We'll see though. This is the last one. All right, last question. I'd cry in absolute joy if there's a service for creating acrylic stands of my own character. I'd like to bring them to the Eorzean Cafe. Oh. Regarding creating acrylic stands or figures for your own character is something of a long dream of mine as well, and I would like to do something about it. I'll let you know once we have progress in this. Oh, that would be incredible. And then I did finish it off with, Yoshi, please extend your sleeping time some more. Yoshi responded with, but it doesn't look like I'll be getting longer sleep. But to do this every year and see all you warriors of light in this manner and celebrate the new year with everyone is more than anything else here. So I swear to strive for greater leaps this year in order to keep this going for as long as possible and to make it even more enjoyable for everyone. Really, thank you to all of you here. In order to take greater leaps for this year, I'm working really hard with indomitable resolve, so please look forward to FF14 that's evolving more and more. And once again, happy new year everyone, and hopefully this year will be the best year for everyone who is present today. I gotta say, a lot to digest in there. Now I'll state again, I would not expect this whole thing about the motions to end up being nothing more than run or walk motions. I don't think we're gonna get custom battle animations, but we'll see. Maybe I'll be wrong. But in any case, I already went for way too long, and I gotta go ahead and start getting this edited before I go live. So make sure you give a like, please subscribe, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye. Also catch me live, twitch.tv/Falcon. Bye.